So, Tansri, thank you again for taking the time. And these are remarkable times. So, Tansri, maybe first starting with, how is it working from home? A business leader like you, always surrounded by people and in the thick of action. Now you're working remotely. How has this experience been, and what is it teaching us as leaders?
Kind of a mix, actually. I enjoy talking to people, real people, physical, right? Interaction. I enjoy, walking down to see people or people seeing me, and I enjoy all of that. So and all the meetings that I've had, I kind of more, I enjoy a lot more than online like this, to be very frank. So although we do, as a company, we do have a lot of conference calls, video calls, easily, because one board member is not around or two, and sometimes I couldn't join another board meeting or another meeting. So in a way, we are quite used to it, but I've never really enjoyed meeting over video or conference call. I never really quite enjoy that, and sometimes because of the quality, you get sometimes annoyed, right? Because you can't hear the person, and it can be quite stressful, frankly. You have to repeat. Tell me again. You're breaking up. Can you repeat that? Okay. Can you call back again? And then sometimes it takes like 5 minutes, 10 minutes to get even the meeting started because of the technical issues. So I never liked it. But fast forward, after 1 month of living like this, right, in my chair, in my room, almost back to back things sometimes, many times, not sometimes, I'm getting used to it. So it is, human being is a way that something you don't like, if you force upon a person, you will get to like it anyway. Yeah, I'm not saying I prefer this over physical, but if you had asked me 1 month ago, my answer would be quite different from today. I'm really getting used to it. For one thing, the tools are fantastic. Yeah, we're using Microsoft Teams once in a while. I call in using Zoom and other, and it's kind of much better. So the algorithm, the technology behind it, with the same kind of bandwidth, the same kind of broadband, can be very different. So it's quite interesting. I should know better, but now that I experience it myself, I say, wow, you mean there's a difference between all things being equal, same broadband, same fiber, same supplier, you have different kind of quality depending on the technology they use to communicate. So to answer back your question, I'm getting comfortable. In fact, I keep telling myself that in the future, any 1 hour meeting or even two overseas, I said, thank you very much. I'd rather do it this way, right? Even I used to have meetings in Singapore. It's a 3 hour plus minus board meeting. Just for that, I spent the whole entire day gone, right? When I come back like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, because of the flight, because of so many other things, I don't have to do it anymore. I think I will be very reluctant now to go for a short meeting overseas anyway. But then again, I keep reminding myself, nothing beats physical interaction, where you can even observe people, you can feel it, right? The feel is different. You can go down to the ground. On the way up, you see a couple of people. You ask, how are you? And so therefore, it's going to go. I can see the evolution of right now. I'm 95% physical, 5% virtual. Probably that will change to maybe 70-30 or 60-40 or thereabouts.
How will it change? Yeah. How will it change Axiata as a company, you think? Will you change anything moving forward in how the company will operate? Because from this experience and from your personal experience, you see, man, there could so much we could do more collaboratively.
Yeah, the answer is yes. Coincidentally, we've discussed this last 2 days ago or 3 days ago. In our we do have our daily meeting on COVID-19, and we discuss the people, any news about people, any impact of business, and so on and so forth. But we kind of discussed 3 days ago that, hey, you know what, how will the new norm happen, right? How will it evolve into? And there are two schools of thoughts, right? One say that, wow, there's a new norm. And there's another school of thought that, yeah, people go back to where they used to be doing, right? Obviously, now people are slanting towards the new norm. My thinking is that there will be kind of a hybrid in between. People do get back to where they used to, but obviously there will be a change. So to answer your question again, for us, we discussed this, that we discussed the possibility of maybe working from home become a feature in our day-to-day life. We might be more flexible than ever before to our employees, and all our meetings abroad. We might kind of curtail it to say, if it's less than X hours, just do it
Remotely.
remotely, and so on. And then the other part of it, which is people don't quite realize, and we took it for granted, we can do many of this with very little impact. In fact, the impact to Axiata as a corporate center is about only 10% productive, less productive, so 90% productive. The rest of the opcos only 80%, only because there are field services probably about 50% productive. Okay, you got to go out, you can't go out, right? But the non-field services, right, the backroom operation of the operating companies, probably around 80 to 90%. So, crudely speaking, we are about 80% productive now. But when we take it for granted compared to many other companies, because a lot of our files are online in a cloud somewhere. I can access so many things in a cloud, or if not personally, I give a call to my colleagues who have the information almost always in a cloud somewhere, right? So now, then back to your question, but our filing system is not perfect, right? So imagine we have a nice filing system, almost mirror imaging the physical world. This is HR file, this is file of my employee called Ali, and this is my finance 2017 numbers, this is my operating number, this is Cellcom, this is Excel. I can easily, I don't need to go to the office maybe, except for the interaction again. So that is a realization of how important not just having online system like cloud in the cloud, but some kind of more organized manner, which people take for granted.
Correct. And how is the network respond? Firstly, do you see a change in the network demand, in the demand on your network? How is the network responding to this across the region? Are there any specific trends or issues or challenges or growth that you see?
Right. Well, I guess during the lockdown or partial lockdown and slightly post lockdown is going to be different from 6 months, 9 months from now. Let me segregate that, right? So let's talk about during this period and maybe not too long after this period. So there's a change, and in fact, it's so consistent everywhere. I've attended the World Bank discussion / GSMA. I've attended BCG session. I've attended a few other sessions. I've read many also. The it's almost globally that has changed. One is that, of course, there's a traffic surge. Obviously, in our case, it's about from 15 to 30% surge, also to 40% surge, right? Total traffic. So that put a bit of pressure on us, right? Now the second part is the interest, which is again obvious. The topography or the pattern has changed from to residential compared to businesses during the day, right? And of course, during nighttime is residential, no change. The third one is the peak period. Used to be after 6, 7 and go up, right? And now it's almost flat. In fact, argue slightly in Malaysia, for example, it varies country by country, but not much different. The peak used to be in probably around 7, 8 to 10 or 11, right? Now it's actually between 12 to 4 around. Again, it varies day by day, but just to give you a feel, the peak. But it used to be the graph like that, and then it towards after dinner you can see a bit minor surge. Now it's almost flat, but maybe more towards the afternoon, and then of course still after 8 or 9 will slightly surge, but it's a flatter curve compared to before. So that's another change. Application also changed, right? more and more WhatsApp than ever. I don't know about you. I'm overwhelmed with emails and WhatsApp more than ever before. Uh, and But one thing interesting, in they're not supposed to. It's supposed, in theory, supposed to be the same. Netflix and videos all gone up too. Now that, on a lighter side, say on a brighter and lighter side, say people are enjoying watching videos during office hours. It's pretty obvious, right?
Yeah.
Netflix during time. Now
Yeah.
maybe YouTube during daytime. Yeah, okay, people during breaks or whatever. Netflix 2 hour movie during daytime. So, but it's okay. We but that's
Mm.
the changes of the application. So yeah, we are observing all these changes.
And how is the now? Was the network? Did you have enough capacity on the network? Is it a issue? How is, how are you preparing, or for such an eventuality moving forward from a network standpoint?
Touch wood, all our operations network has been resilient, with zero or no impact, because we have a bit of capacity, but we are accelerating some. Uh, Almost every opco we accelerated the second quarter into the first quarter at the beginning, and now we're trying to accelerate third quarter to second quarter. But the problem is that if it's permanent change, it's worth it. But it's a temporary change. 6 months, 9 months from now, and then what do we do to reconfigure the network, right? So we upgraded, let's say, the rural areas or suburb areas where people are going back to the homes, and then suddenly now, 9 months later, they're going back to the office. So to resolve that problem, we worked out with, because network can be upgraded. In most cases, you need to upgrade physically, but there's a 20, 30, 40% can be upgraded by software. So the software component we have arranged with the vendors to allow us to just upgrade. That can be done almost instantly. That's why we can manage it. But of course, there's a point that we have to upgrade, and we're trying to accelerate. It's not so easy, as you know. In Malaysia, for example, there are roadblocks and hassle going to the police, prove a document that you have to upgrade, and landlord doesn't allow you to come in despite a document saying that you are allowed to. So it's a bit of hassle. But net, touch wood, very resilient, and we can. It's so possible.
Excellent. And what are you doing to help customers across the board? Many customers are going through the toughest times that they've ever seen in their whole lives. And I can see that you have rolled out many initiatives. Would you like to give us a flavor of that?
Yeah, almost consistently throughout the group. I'm sure many operators do, with deferment of payment, for example. And in some cases, we depending on, we did some analytical work that, for customers who have been with us for a long time, loyal customers. Well, I can't be too public about it. We allow a bit of top up, because sometimes they can't even do a top up, right? In Malaysia, it's not so bad. They can still find a way to top up because there's a modern channel and there's an online. In some countries, they are badly affected because they need to be physically going to the dealers, right? So we allow, we are more relaxed on the what do you call it, the validity period, right? And then also in Malaysia, right, Indonesia, we give freebies. In fact, all countries we give freebies. Malaysia, we give 1 gig per day per customer freebie, and then only use their own portion after that. In Indonesia, the other way around. After they use up, we can give them a freebie, 1 gig or 2 gig per day. So we're helping them to bridge this moment, and I think it's tough for the mindset that, you know what, this is really not the time to be purely on a commercial basis. They've got to be inside us to say, we need to help customers, and for that matter, we have to help our dealers and so on.
Correct. You were the first company. I remember. I was very impressed. You guys moved very quickly, along with Celcom and Boost, with a 150 million ringgit grant. That was quite timely. How has been the response? Has it? I saw that you can have a approval in 3 minutes. That is great. How is that working out? What is the success? How do you see it going along?
So first, the program, as you probably have heard or read, is 150 million. Is focusing primarily on micro SMEs, not SMEs, right? And the loan is about 10,000, up to 10,000, 1,000 to 10,000. Payment, if I can recall, about between the tenure is 3 months to 18 months, right? And so we launched, it's only the early days of the MCO or the lockdown. We launched it in a very short period of time, only because we have done it commercially before that. We had about 8,000 or so customers before that, 3,000 plus in Malaysia. We've given out 65 million loan before that. So after this, we're learning from that, we can do the same thing, right? And so we did. Actually, if once we have the data, we can, it's 3 minutes approval, and then 48 hours of disbursement, very fast, right? So we are using that engine. Of course, just digressing slightly, the lesson learned also, as we do this, there's a lot of government support, right? So, and many of them are long-term and much bigger loan. So we realized that maybe 10,000 is not enough. During the working capital for 1 week, 2 weeks, okay. But when you need a longer period, you need 10, 20, 30,000, right? Even for micro SME. So we need to increase that. We are increasing that. Also, we realized that the scams are all coming at the same time. So can you imagine, the name of the entity is called Aspirasi, asking you to put in all your details. A lot of people decided, I don't trust this, right? Yeah. So we are rebranding it to Celcom, for Celcom dealers, Boost to Boost dealers, and we're working with others. We are trying to find the right name so that people are not scared. There are so many scams as we speak right now. There's a spike in scams. And also, there are a couple of issues. I think that's not the main point. The main point is that we are able to quickly activate what we have done commercially to help and serve. And to be frank, we think this will be challenging from NPL perspective, but we said, we are willing to accept that.
Correct. And are there any other initiatives to support society at large? Are you working with governments across the region?
Correct. In fact, first on a cash basis, almost every one of our operating companies have donated to the tune of $1 to $1.5 million US. Almost everyone, and everyone also helping out in other ways. But one of the things that we are doing also, in fact, we just reviewed just now, every OPCO is working with the government to develop a software to help either in tracking, tracing, some of the things that we could do. And in Lobby, for example, was made public, so I can talk about it, is real-time tracking of people being positive, working with the government, and so on. So yes, we're doing I would say a lot.
Excellent.
And will be doing.
And so as you look into the future for telecoms industry and for Axiata, how does this COVID-19 change fundamentally the industry as you look ahead? You think, you've now spent about over 30 years in this industry.
Yeah. Well, there's a short term and long term, right? And somewhere there's a mid-term. So short term, what we discussed when we first started, that everybody can see is happening, and like I said, it's quite consistent practically globally, right? Now the question is, what do we expect many years from now, right? Or rather many months from now, or maybe 1.5, 2 years from now, where a real new norm will evolve. Maybe not entirely different, but definitely cannot be BAU, right? Yeah, at that juncture, I guess the question is more that period, right? When the new norm is evolving or will be evolving. So for us, actually, if you think about it, we are in the sweet spot, right? Even now, frankly, assuming I said, I don't care about customers, I don't care about how they feel, I want to make money, I can, because they have no choice but to use my network. And my volume has increased. Maybe my revenue will not correspondingly increase by 10 or 40%, but surely it will increase. But because of the freebies and what we're doing, we actually have a net negative revenue. So short term is not good. And medium term will be potentially even worse because a lot of customers, a lot of jobs, a lot of people and companies will go out of business. So it will be quite bad. But now then you think about longer period. Wait a minute. This is, as you know, more than I do, I'm sure you've done research. This is perhaps the best driver for digitization, right? I mean, you and I have been trying to get people to digitize, and we all do, right? But SMEs have not fully digitized, especially the smaller ones, right? Because life has been great, right? Even with or without digitization, right? This is the stalls, the hawkers, and now they got no choice because the new norm are evolving. People are so comfortable online, and all that stuff, right? So therefore, if you think about it, just that sector itself will be digitizing more than ever before. When I say that, it means not just they need more bandwidth and broadband than ever before, right? So volume will increase, but they're also looking for solutions, right? We're working with Microsoft and Google to provide solutions, SME solutions, solution in the box, so that they can operate. Then those are horizontal solutions. Then there are more and more vertical solutions, right? Logistics or whatever, hotels application and so on, that people will be more looking into it. So, but net, as a telco, if we evolve ourselves not just from a mobile to broadband provider, we will gain, of course, from a volume and from the intensity of usage. But if we move ourselves to the solutions, SMEs, and even enterprise for that matter, we can take advantage of it. So you can see that while I'm not sure what will happen the next few months, but I am optimistic. Beyond 2 years, I'm optimistic. In fact, I believe that we could be the darling of our investors all over again, of investors in general, all over again.
Excellent. You had a spectacular set of results in 2019. Highest EBITDA for the group, great growth in net profit. What was such a remarkable turnaround in 12 months? What is the essence of it? What did you change to help achieve this?
So, first, maybe I can say in the first place, turnaround is not an accurate word, because 2018 looked bad because of one transaction.
Yeah.
Of the what do you call it? The idea, what's the word for it?
Idea Cellular, yeah, investment.
Yeah, we written off the investment basically, right? So I can't even remember that word because it's a bad word. So if you take out that from the picture, just take out that. Actually, 2018 was a good year. So 2019 was a better year. So it's not a turnaround. Turnaround implies from very bad to good, right? It was not bad in the first place. I mean, that's one message I want to make sure everybody know. It was not bad in the first place. It was a good year, right? Not great, but good year. But 2019 was maybe not great, but very good year, right? So the only, if at all, if you want to say turnaround, maybe you can refer to both Celcom and XL, right? Now, XL really had a much better year in 2019 than compared to the previous years, right? So they had a very good year. They performed the best in the industry in almost every metrics, right? So that's, but the actual turnaround happened a year or so before that, right? So it's just the reaping of the benefits from that turnaround. Now, in the case of Celcom, to be sure, I wouldn't even call it turnaround yet, right? We stabilized the company, and the revenue was slightly below market, but of course the EBITDA and profit much better than the competition. But I won't call it turnaround yet because there's a lot more work to be done. But overall, as a group, I think the momentum is just the momentum carried forward from 18 to 17 to 19. So we had a good year for sure.
Excellent, excellent. And I remember, one of the presentations you made, you talked about your major focus areas for growth. One was the digital initiatives, where Boost and Axiata Digital, so many other digital companies who you have been emphasizing. You were a front runner in making some of these investments very early on. How is that mapping out? How do you see that evolving? The other piece was the enterprise piece as well, which I think there is a stated objective in the group to say we have to progressively improve enterprise contribution to the business over the next few years.
Well, the digital businesses, I must say we are pretty happy with that, right? If I can put in a nutshell, we invested as end of last year to the tune of about 270 million US dollar, and the valuation given to our companies, about 9 of them, to the tune of 640 million US dollar. That excludes some of the companies that we have built digital, that we folded them back into the opcos. But the 270 million includes that. The 640 million did not include that. So it could have been much bigger. But I'm just stating that group, about 9 companies. Now, out of the 9, 3 are we managing ourselves now. 6, we kind of ask another company to manage on our behalf, right? Where we are just now pure investor rather. So whereas these 3, we are running the business, and I must say that I'm even more hopeful now than ever, because we can announce. It might be premature to announce anything, but we will. Last year we saw investment directly into these companies, and you will see more in the near term. In a way, validation of our valuation and validation of the success of these companies, and hopefully, again, we do not know, will evolve to a real full-fledged digital bank.
Excellent. In fact, yesterday, one of the big industry announcements is Reliance becoming friends with Facebook. So where do you see? What do you read of that? And you see more of these announcements coming in this part of the world? Are you talking to Facebook? Are you trying to become friends there?
Well, we want to be friends with all, right? But it's a very strategic move, I must say, right? It's interesting because now we can see, normally telcos are telcos, right? And then you have these OTTs are OTTs. In fact, they don't like each other, right? So this is a merger of the so-called OTT and telcos. I think it's the beginning of more of that kind. Will happen, right? And in fact, talking about the new norms you mentioned, the industry will change a bit, and where it gives more impetus to telcos to go beyond purely broadband. And one way is to have either partnership or investors coming into telcos to do this, what you just said, the merger of different segments, different sectors into one.
Correct. We see so many companies. SK Telecom has now collaborated with a wide range of gaming companies. They partnered with Kakao. Singtel is talking about partnering with Grab to have a banking license. So seems like it is the beginning. So we'll see a lot more of that, I think, coming forward from you as well, I suppose.
Well, in fact, when you talk about digital bank, we will do what OTT do it to us. We will do what to the banks, right? Yeah. Except the biggest difference is that our target segments are not exactly the traditional banking target segment. So I want to qualify that we are still friends with the banks. We will not eat their lunch. Maybe a bit of their dessert. Won't take anything else.
How about the enterprise business? I know you're passionate about it. You have been, having regular meetings and demanding updates with your team. I've heard several of that. So how is that coming along? How is the progress?
Okay, I would say it has been a very slow progress. I have to admit that. So 17 was very slow, 18 was slow, but 19 was good, maybe okay, right? We grew 7% only. Overall, we grew 5%, but enterprise 7%. We had expected double digit, right? So now that's the not so good part. The good part is that if you look at underneath the numbers, especially 18 and no, especially 19, we could see marked progress in terms of building the teams, in terms of solution suites that we have, partnerships with the Microsoft and Google, and the skill building, the capacity building, and and a couple of small wins that we have gotten. So I'm encouraged. So 2020 will be, I don't know what to say, but hopefully 2021 will be a very good year for us, enterprise. And almost link back to what I said earlier, there's a huge opportunity because of COVID in the SME, and for that matter, even larger enterprises.
Excellent. And so how does, let's say, 5G, and we have seen, I think Thailand is the first one to do the spectrum. We are seeing others follow suit. You will see, we are likely to see, obviously the business case is something people still are challenged with. We see that in developing countries, it's a lot harder. In developed countries, maybe the business case is a little easier to justify. One, has COVID changed the view on 5G? How do you see it evolving, let's say, in the next couple of years?
Well, that's a tough one because we are still assessing ourselves, to be very frank. I don't think I have all the answers yet on that. On one hand, COVID has made a lot of companies think whether they should preserve cash, right? Because in a world of unknowns and uncertainty, you wouldn't want to be over adventurous, right? On the other hand, because of what I said earlier, we might want to accelerate. So there's a very conflicting ways of how you interpret the scenario, right? So for us, in terms of 4G, we are generally accelerating rather than preserving our cash, right? Because we think both from a customer support standpoint, society, and also for our own good, we have to do that, right? But 5G is a bit tricky, right? Because I guess we have the Maslow hierarchy. Survival is more important than the fancy applications that people might want to develop. So, on one hand, you might just slow down the 5G, right? On the other hand, there's another view that let's look that as a possible catalyst for rebound. Yeah. So what I just said is not what I've decided what to do or know what to do yet. It's just a consideration that we have in mind that we are trying. These are the variables we are playing with, right? You always have two sides of the coin. Shall you be aggressive and take advantage and prepare for a rebound, or shall you say, "Oh wow, you never know what's going to. The liquidity might not be there, cash might not be there, free cash flow might be affected. Let's conserve cash." So
Excellent. Thank you very much. I think that was so broad ranging. I want to just take the last 10 minutes and maybe take a little bit of a perspective from you on your career. You spent over 3.5 decades in telecoms, is it?
In IT, 16 years, telecom, 23 years to be precise.
Okay, so 4 decades. So when you went for your first job in IT, did you ever think you will have this success and be the group CEO of a company with operations? Did you start with that aspiration to get this success?
On the contrary, when I started, I spent 5 years as a system engineer, more of a technical line rather than marketing or sales. And I vowed to myself, I remember I was interviewed by sales manager. I said, "Why sales manager? There's a last profession. I want to be a technical guy. I don't want to talk to human beings as much as possible, right? Because when I enter one, I get one. I'm happy, right? I can predict what will happen. So no, not at all. Forget about being a group CEO. Forget about CEO. Forget about business or sales. I wanted to be a technical specialist. So never crossed my mind.
Now telecoms is not necessarily attracting the best of talent. The best of talent is doing their own startup, or they want to work for the digital companies like Grab, etc. So what do let's say, what is your advice to, maybe the opcos, maybe to even young people who are looking at building careers? Is telecom getting to be exciting again? How is it? What do we need to do to make it a career of choice for people?
First, I have to admit what you just said is generally correct, right? We've been for certain kind of skills, we want to attract the analytics, for example. In general, they prefer, the Grab-like or Grab-like companies, the digital companies, or some specialized small companies, which is interesting. During my days, people want to work for established company, right? Maybank, HSBC, IBM, not company that you have never heard in your entire life, right? When you ask your father, he will say, don't even think about it. Because, you want to, but now it's the other way around, work for this giant, forget it, there's I want to work for this cool company, Okay, anyway, so you're right. So to answer your question, maybe I could try to rephrase that first before I answer your question. When we have this concept that when we attract people want to join us for three things, right? One, obviously, for a good pay, right? We are not the best paymaster, but we are better than average, sometimes much better than average. Not the best, but people want good pay, right? Secondly, we want people who join us because they want a good development. I always say that joining Axiata is like going to an applied university. It's like you learn so much, but in an applied way, right? So what I mean is that it's actually the corollary to that. I don't want people to join us purely because of money, because they have different kind of mindset and attitude. That's not what I want. In fact, thank you, please don't join us, right? But if they come, I want to learn. Oh, I love you, because please join us, right? The third reason is because of the environment, meaning the peers, physical environment, and also other social environment. So these are the three main reasons we want people to join us, because of the three reasons, right? In fact, if they join us because one only, we don't want them either, right? So now, to answer the question, therefore, if we can build upon what I've just said, right? Okay, money is a universal language. Development. So we have the advantage compared to so many other companies, right? First, joining us, you can have a global experience. In fact, we have 31 Malaysians now working outside Malaysia, right? We have, at last count, about 41 nationalities working for us, meaning, and we rotate people all across, right? So there's this, well, not day one or day two or first year, right? But there's an opportunity to be trained. On the development again, unlike most telcos, we have telcos, of course. We are evolving into converged company. We have digital companies, right? We also have E.co, tower company. Most people thought it's boring, but I tell you, you talk to this the tower guys, they are enjoying their life, right? Because it's a different game. So we offer different kind of businesses, right? And then development again. The third aspect of development, we believe in what we call a zigzag career. Finance to marketing to, it's tougher to become engineer from marketing, but at least you can do the planning side, strategy and all that. And it's been proven that many of our guys come from different backgrounds. I mean, let's talk about the CEOs, right? Dian, the CEO of Indonesia, was originally the CTO. Then she was heading the digital services within Indonesia. She came to Axiata Corporate Center to do marketing, and then she's gone back to become CEO, right? Similarly, the CEO of Bangladesh was from a different industry, came to us in finance, moved him into COO and CMO, and then into a CEO. I mean, these are CEO examples, but there are plenty of examples where people move around from one function to another. I can go on and on, but you can just to give a flavor. we offer development better than most companies, including most telcos, because of the reason above. And last but not least, because we find people who work for us, this is a two-edged sword, which is a positive two-edged sword, because we want them to join us, because one of the three reasons is because of the social environment and the physical environment. These are the same people who can work well with others. So collaborative, as you know, become more and more important skill. So they are much more collaborative. Maybe not perfectly. I mean, of course, you always have this 10% who will never work with others, right? But the majority of people love to join us because of that. And because of that, other people love to join us too. So that's our proposition, which is unique to us and unique to our industry. So we would want to believe that we have a better proposition than most other companies.
And Tan Sri, if there is a young person in any of the telecom companies who wants and aspires to be a CEO, who aspires to, what do you recommend to them? To how should they, what skill set should they focus on? To take on a job like yours, maybe 10 years from today. What do you recommend them to do? Because you seem to have navigated this maze extremely well. So,
okay, so it's not a good parallel, because I've been very lucky all my life, right? I never planned to be like this, to be frank. All my jobs have been offered to me, not that I, mastermind my career. So I never really masterminded my career. But that's the point I mentioned. I mean, during all my session with the new talent and even external, is that you don't follow me, because you don't want to mastermind to the point where you get hung up with your career and you become impatient, right? You don't want to do that, but you don't want to live on the other extreme. You don't want to live by chance, right? So you gotta somehow aspire, but don't get too passionate about it, which is different advice compared to many others. I've seen people so passionate about become a CEO or group CEO or whatever, and they get so impatient and they become political. You know what I mean? So it's better not to be overly passionate. Again, this is contrary to most others, but have some feel what you want to do and then plan for it. So that's the first point. In other words, the first point is the mindset, the attitude about your career itself. The second one is that there are many, right? I just picked three most important things I see. The second one is that in this world, you got to be agile, which is obviously the case, and therefore to be agile, you got to unfortunately be good in many areas. Yeah, you cannot be just in one area, right? You need depth for sure, but you need to have more than just depth. You need to have other skills, right? Today you cannot be a good marketeer, very creative, without analytical skill. Similarly, those who are very analytical, you cannot be too analytical without understanding the applications, right? So therefore, even in the early days, it's very good, therefore, to start not just read, but find a company that allows you to move around. Exactly what I said earlier. Allow you that, and promote, not just allow, promote people moving from one function to another function, from sales to marketing, from marketing to maybe planning to strategy, and back to marketing, and maybe a bit of finance, corporate finance, and move around, because then you become, that will build agility in your capability, right? And I guess the third one is with regards to digital, kind of related to the second, and you can't help it, right? This world is all digital. So right in early days, no matter what function, is to think. When I say digital, it includes analytics, to really brush up the skill on digital analytics. That to me is one of the most important tools. In fact, us as a company, we want it to be our major differentiator. We're looking for people like that. So, in other words, even if you are, to answer your question, therefore, if I can summarize, if you want to be a CEO, not too passionate about it, but work towards it, plan, but not over planning for it, right? You have to prove yourself. Second is to get a good grasp of many areas with a depth, and last, build that digital skill. Can you imagine a CEO with that kind of background? you'll be a good CEO.
Excellent. And Tan Sri, what an incredible career. What next? I'm sure there is another 20, 25 years of, I can see you're already part of the economic committee advising the Prime Minister. Where do you see, I wrote in a piece of that in 2019, maybe Bill Gates made a huge transition from being a corporate leader now to being recognized globally as a philanthropist. I can see you're slowly beginning to move in some other direction. Is there anything you want? Where are you heading next? Yeah.
Well, okay. First, I have to correct you on a EAC. I'm just one of the many, many members. So, hopefully that one-liner that you listen to me, but I'm not the advisor or the main advisor. But to be frank with you, I've not really thought through what I want to do after my retirement this year. I'm so engrossed with so many things like COVID-19, running my business, BAU, right? Then it's COVID, then we have this EAC and all the related things going on. It's been pretty tough. But also there's something I want to have a break before I decide what I want to do. But one thing for sure, I do not think I want a full-time career after this. That's all I can say. Yeah, I'd rather do something that where I have more control over my own time.
Excellent. Sorry.
Now, what I want to do, I don't really know.
Yeah. I remember you were quite a good athlete. You used to run, I think the Bursa run. Are you still running?
Well, I'm still running. I have to change that. I'm not a good athlete. I used to be when I was in schools, if that's what you meant, yes. But after that, I've been quite lazy. No, I do run, but in a more casual, middle distance running, and that's about all. I'm more for health rather than competitive or anything like that.
Excellent. Tan Sri, it has been such a pleasure and an honor. I really appreciate you taking this time. I think it is, I'm sure it is a lot of learning for everybody who is listening, and we covered such a wide and diverse range of subjects. I look forward to maybe meeting you in person since you like the physical environment. And best wishes. Yeah. And best wishes to you and your team and your family for incredible success and happiness in everything you do. And look forward to seeing you again. So,
well, thank you very much. Thanks for your time. Thanks for this interview. I enjoy myself. And good to see you again. And all the best to you. And stay safe.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah.